Great Awakening. Give it a few people to get the notification. Great Awakening, sister. How are you? Yesenia, can you let me know if you can hear me and see me okay? I always want to check before I get started. So, let me know as you come in if you can hear me and you can see me clearly. Okay, awesome. Thank you. While we're waiting for people to get the notification and join, I am Phoenix Love of the Healer's Haven. I work with purpose driven leaders to provide holistic healing solutions to help you achieve your wellness goals as well as achieve work life balance. I am the helper to the healer and the healer to the helper. Thank you for joining Morning Chat for the Soul. I am going to I'm going to get started, and as people come in, they can just join right in. And those of you who catch it on the replay, just put hashtag replay. I'm just trying to make sure the sun, because I'm in a different spot this morning, so we got a little bit of sun over me, but hopefully you can hear me, which is most important. So I want to talk about the title is what is it that you have to complete, and this really came to me as most of my topics in my prayer and meditation time. This is why it's so important to pray and meditate, because you get the downloads, you get the information that you need. But I thought about we're getting ready, we're wrapping up July, we're going into August. August is the 8th month of the year. And I don't know about for any of you, but I know for me, 2019 has just been an amazing year, and it's a lot of twists and turns, but a lot of blessings. But something about August, and I don't know, it's because it kind of signifies the ending, closing of the summer, closing of a season, even though it goes into September. But there's something about August, besides it being number 8. And number 8 is a significant number because it's associated with abundance, it's associated with success, it's associated with fulfillment, and it's associated with wholeness and completion. So I want to talk a little bit about the word completion, not only from the standpoint of you completing something. Hey, good morning, sister. Completing something, which you think about as finishing something that you started, but also from the perspective of you being complete, you being whole, because I see those being synonymous, those two words, completion or being complete and wholeness. So I'm going to talk about completion from two standpoints, the standpoint of wholeness and the standpoint of procrastination. Because when we have something that we need to accomplish, we need to finish. Good morning. Thank you for joining, sis. When we have something that we need to accomplish, we need to finish, we need to tackle, we know that little ugly P word can get in there, which is procrastination. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit later, because I think we need to start from, like I said, twofold: wholeness and procrastination. Wholeness having to do with our being, who we are. So I'm going to start there because, the, truthfully, if you are not feeling whole, if you are not feeling complete, if you are not feeling at your best, your, I want to say, the best version of you, then it's going to be very challenging for you to complete something. Especially if you have a goal, a dream that you really, that's been on your heart. And we dealt with the heart energy center last week. We spoke about that in the morning chat for the soul. And if you haven't seen that message, please go back and watch the replay of it. And because it directly connects to this message. In order for you to fulfill your dream, because remember, we're talking about the number 8, fulfillment, abundance, success, wholeness, completion. Balance and harmony is also in there. Number 8, very significant number. So August is the 8th month of the year. So we have the opportunity to really manifest what we really want, those loose ends we need to tie up in the upcoming month of August. Great morning, everyone. So I want us to think about, first of all, are we whole? Do we feel complete? And when we look at that, wholeness is living in such a way that every aspect of our lives is in divine harmony and balance, right? Physically fit, mentally, nutritionally, emotionally, every aspect, relationally, professionally, ethically. So this has a lot to do with, right, why most of you are here in this community, holistic living for purpose-driven leaders, right? You want to fulfill your purpose, so you want to fulfill every aspect of your life. You want to look at every aspect of your life and making sure that there's not something that's incomplete or not whole or even broken. So let's talk about brokenness. Because wholeness is the opposite of brokenness. See, when we regard our own brokenness, we naturally have a tendency to compare it to our outer world. And I talk about the outer world or the outer ecosystem versus the inner ecosystem a lot in this community. Because it's very important that we understand that we have control over the inner ecosystem, which is our inner woman or man, versus what's outside of us. We can't control what's outside of us. We can only control what's within us. So if there's a feeling of brokenness because of we have excused whatever habits or justified things within us that we know we need to work on, but we've justified or we've packed it and put it away somewhere, or we've projected it outside of us to other people because we don't want to look at our own brokenness, then we are moving further away from the opportunity to heal and become whole, right? So the more that we blame others, the more that we justify whatever's inside of us that needs to be worked on, the further we are away from becoming whole and being able to achieve our, God-given purpose on this earth. So this is so important. We don't want to shift blame anywhere. We want to take responsibility and own up and say, you know what? These are areas I still need to work on in my life so I can truly live holistically, so I can truly live in harmony and in balance and feel whole and complete. See, society projects this message out there that in order for us to be complete, in order for us to be whole, that's attaching ourselves to another person, usually a romantic relationship, marriage, so forth, right? And they'll say, well, I'm complete. This person makes me complete. No. When two people come together, matrimony, whatever relationship, you don't come as two halves, or you shouldn't come as two halves. You're supposed to come as two whole people. This is why there is high rates of divorce. This is why there are so many broken relationships and marriages, because it's this mindset of, oh, this other person completes me. But when we really should come to the relationship complete already, right? And that doesn't mean perfection. Nobody's perfect. But it means that we have done our own work, our own healing of the things that may have not been working well within us and in our circumference that we have control over. So think about it this way. If we talk about wholeness and something being broken, or the opposite of being broken is brokenness, then it's these are the terminologies we hear, and I'm just going to read a couple of them. A person breaks down when they suffer disappointment or loss. A person breaks focus when they're unable to concentrate. A couple breaks up when they sever relational ties. A person becomes broke when he or she runs out of money. A person's health is broken as a result of illness. Dreams are broken when they go unfulfilled. And a train of thought is broken when interrupted. So that word broke, it's inserted in so many different parts of our lives and in our language and society, that we have become accustomed to brokenness and almost have made it normal, right? But it's not normal. In order for us to really elevate, self-actualize, and become all that God has created us to be, we need to be whole. We need to be operating in balance, harmony, decency, and order, right? And that's all areas of our lives. Wholeness truly is the fruit of God, God's grace working in our lives. It is the ability for us to pull ourselves out of when we're in some kind of miry pit or some kind of muck or some kind of, quicksand. And because things are going to happen, stress is going to come, things are going to happen with our families, things are going to happen again in our outer world that we have no control over. But when you're whole and when your feet are firmly planted on a strong foundation, you are able to use that resilience and pull yourself up and still be able to move forward and fulfill your purpose and your dream. It is so much that is buried in brokenness. But brokenness is also an opportunity to heal. And that's what happens. And I think this is what's been happening all this year, because the conversations that I've been having with different people, clients, friends that I've been talking to, everybody's things are coming up to the surface this year, because I've told each one of them, it's communication, it's an alert, it's an alarm to say, this has to be healed, settle it now. Don't push it away, don't push it down, because you are again moving further away from your opportunity to heal, your opportunity to be whole. And in order for us to complete anything and to feel complete, we have to do the healing work. We have to fix those areas that, lack of a better word, have been broken. Okay? So wholeness is so important, and we want to make sure that we are not shifting that responsibility out to someone else or to something else, and that we're taking it on. Because it's directly correlated to us being able to complete whatever it is that needs to be wrapped up, tied up, and completed. So let's talk about completion. Completion in the sense of, what is it that you still need to complete? What is outstanding in your life right now? Meaning outstanding like it hasn't been done, it hasn't been finished. Good morning, everyone. I just want to give y'all a little wave and make sure I'm addressing everyone. Hi, Sister Sabrina. Thank you for joining. So what is it that you still need to finish? It's a task, it's a project, it's a goal, it's a dream. What is that? Only you know what that is. Because what happens when we're not feeling complete in our being, in our spirit, in our soul, and we're not feeling whole, and there's some things that are unsettled within us, right? It gets in the way. It turns into emotional, spiritual, soul blockages within us that prevents us from staying on task and being able to complete whatever that is that you need to get done. And this is what happens. And we wonder why, because I hear it all the time, from my clients coming in. I feel stuck. I feel lost. I feel like I'm losing my mind, right? Because something has a grip on them. Something has them again stuck in the mud, stuck where they can't move, almost like cement is on their feet and they're not moving forward. And sometimes even moving backwards. And it's like, what's going on? Why am I not progressing? Why am I not able to finish this? Why everything I start, I can't get it done. I can't finish it. Okay? That has a lot to do with not what's outside of you, what's inside of you. So there is something, it goes back to the wholeness and feeling whole and being whole. And there is something that is blocking, emotionally blocking, mentally blocking, or spiritually blocking, or maybe all of the above, you from moving forward and completing that task. Now, a word about procrastination. Procrastination is just a sign. It's a symptom, actually. A lot of people think, procrastination is something that I do. And I've said it. I'm a master. I was a master procrastinator, and I still have my moments of procrastination. But God had to help me with that, because I and that was one of those things I had to go to prayer about a lot. Like, okay, why is there certain areas of my life, I procrastinate in? I just, what is that? But what He showed me is that procrastination is not necessarily something that we do. It is a state of our heart. Going back to that heart energy center. That's why I said this is so important. It goes back to the state of our heart. Because what happens, remember, everything out of the heart are the issues, the wellspring of life. So procrastination is really a symptom of us not really feeling solid in our being and who we are. So procrastination often is attached to how we feel about ourselves. And I was like, wait a minute, what? And I'm like, I'm confident in me and my abilities. But it's not even necessarily just confidence. Okay? Again, it is attached to what is it in our lives inside of us that we still need to heal. Is there still this area? Is there still this limited belief that we have not dealt with? That is still lingering. It's that little message in the subconscious mind that's telling us something. That message that may be whispered, whether it's not good enough, or it's you can't do something. You don't have enough, or you're poor. And I'm not saying poor just money wise, but maybe poor in spirit. Maybe there's a lack in your education, or your education or your abilities or something like that. So it's not always associated with lack in money. Sometimes it has to do with our spirit. Sometimes it has to do with how we showed up in school when we were children. Did we struggle in school? And that still lingers in our mind, that maybe we weren't a good, student, and we weren't able to read well, or, we failed classes all the time, and that plays over and over in our abilities, and it shows up. So procrastination often sometimes is attached to our feelings of a sense of mastery. So do we really think that we can do something? Do we really feel that we're strong in a particular area? So it goes back to searching the soul. Now, some things, I'm not talking about like we cleaning the house or something like that. Some areas is just that you just, you kind of put it off because it's something you don't want to do. And that's one aspect of things. But it still goes back to, why don't you want to get this done? Why aren't you being disciplined or faithful in this particular area? So it's still a bigger reason, and there's a root cause to it. And again, you have to go back and really search your soul and search your heart. Like, what is really going on here? What is the message? Because I know that as long as I avoid this and I procrastinate, and it's only going to get bigger, it's not going to go anywhere. Many things that we avoid are the very things that we need to bring the most attention to. Again, it's all communication. So what is it that you need to complete? You know that you've been putting it off, or you've been procrastinating, or you just, been ignoring it. You don't want to deal with it. What is that thing? What is that situation? What is that relationship? What is that, and sometimes the relationship is just with us, with ourselves, because that's under the relationship with the divine creator. That's the most important relationship, because that relationship shows everybody else how they're supposed to interact with us and engage with us and have relationships with us. So it's all about inner work. It's all about that inner ecosystem that needs to be worked on. I just want to take a look, make sure I'm on time. Okay. So in the last 5 minutes, I just want to read in devotion to give a little bit more context around wholeness, because it's all about healing, y'all. It's all about us being healed, healing our soul, healing our mind, healing our spirit, so that we can show up as the best version of us every single day. Again, not perfection, but the ability to live out, to be exactly who God has created us to be, and live out our purpose, live out our destiny, right? Like they say, give me my flowers while I'm still alive. That meaning, for me, that means like, let's get this done while we're here in these earthly vessels, right? So when that time comes, when the memorial and, people are doing the eulogy, they have all these amazing things to say, because you were living on purpose. But to live on purpose, you have to be whole. To come together with another being, you have to be whole, or you should be whole. Because otherwise, you're both bringing your stuff together, two halves, trying to make a whole. So August, this is the time to get it done. So God is a God of wholeness. This is the devotion. And wholeness is really God's grace working in our lives. You can only be complete if your heart is not divided between blame and unforgiveness. So there's a process of forgiving whoever you need to forgive, forgiving yourself, and not blaming, just stop, cut it. If you're blaming other people for situations, things that have happened in the past, anything that's in your heart energy center that you need to let pass through. Because that's what I spoke about last week. Let it pass through. Let it go. Because when you're holding on to it, you're not giving yourself the full opportunity to heal. When you are not whole, you feel insecure, ineffective, unloved, incapable, nervous, suspicious, overwhelmed, unsettled, confused, out of control, sometimes needy, isolated, lonely, which I hear that one a lot, lonely, and a whole host of undesirable emotions. A whole person, on the other hand, may be challenged by circumstances, but will feel capable of handling them, largely because their relationships are healthy due to sound boundaries, honest communication, and mutual respect. Such a person, a whole person, practices acceptance and positive regard for others. They are not codependent or enmeshed in the lives of other people. Their happiness is not contingent upon how others treat them, what others say, or whether they get noticed at all. Instead of worrying, pray and be mindful of the little things pulling at the edges of your soul. Psalms 37:37 says, keep your eye on the healthy soul. Scrutinize the straight life. There's a future in strenuous wholeness. So, my good people, take time to assess that question. What is it that you need to complete? What needs to be made whole within you? First, within you, and then within your sphere of influence as far as what you can control. Take time to ponder that question. Because wholeness is what's going to be able to take you further towards your destiny and towards fulfilling your purpose. So everyone have a blessed Sunday. I just want to make sure I'm not missing any. Hey! Everyone have a blessed and prosperous Sunday. And remember, August is a couple of days away. And it's going to be a powerful month. A lot of powerful energy. So let's, take advantage of that month to tie up those loose ends within us and without. All right, everyone have a blessed one.